Gen Z boys are cooked. Good luck, dudes. Gen Z women are choosing older men over guys their own age. And it's not because they're sugar daddies. Basically, what they're saying about y'all is that you're listless, passionless, lazy layabouts that have no vision for a future. They're saying it's your fault. At least that's what the feminists are saying. I don't know that it's true. There's another interesting story. I think I got it pulled up here. Nearly half of Gen Z would pick money over love, new survey finds. But who is that? Is that dudes or is that chicks? Who wants money more than love? One thing is true is that the reports keep coming out showing that Gen Z is struggling to date. Younger women, Gen Z women, are less likely to face problems because they can always go for older guys. Older guys can do whatever they want. They're more likely to have money, status, or a job, especially compared to Gen Z. And Gen Z guys seem to be absurdists locked in a listless reality where they don't expect to own a home or get a good job. And without that passion or confidence, they make themselves less appealing. So I will say this before we read the article. I think for a lot of Gen Z guys, getting too down on yourself and being black-pilled makes ladies not want to be with you. I'll also point out, however, I feel like millennials got the last chopper out of Nam, right? We still had an opportunity to start a business and get employees because Gen Z still needed jobs. But Gen Z, you ain't starting a business. Who's going to work for you? Gen Alpha? There's only 40 million of them. So you're not going to find a new worker base. Good luck. Check this story out. The New York Post says, May-December flings are all the rage. According to reported dating trends and a flurry of TikTok chatter, Gen Z is warming to the idea that age is just a number. When the vibes are right. I totally get why Chelsea was with Rick and chose him over Saxon. The 18-year-old named Olivia said in a recent interview with The Independent, raving about the unlikely couple featured in the April 6th finale of The White Lotus. Saxon is an F-boy. Rick was concerned with bigger things, and Chelsea believed they were soulmates. The age gap didn't matter. That's right. Rick, a moody-aged middle-aged man played by Walter Goggins, 53, beat up the hot young himbo portrayed by Patrick Schwarzenegger, 31, for Gen Z's affection. Kate chimed in, she's 18, saying she was Rick all the way. Saxon was so basic. For a generation famous for canceling anything even remotely problematic, their sudden love for romantic pairings within a few decades between birthdays might be surprising. But there is a reason. According to 19-year-old Liza, who's dating someone in his late 20s and sat down with the outlet, I'd go on the odd date with someone my age, and more often than not, we would end up in a straight-up argument, and he would start saying Andrew Tate makes good points. Her boyfriend? Super chill, a feminist, and weirdly so are most of his mates. He missed all the manosphere stuff, and it shows. It's not a Gen Z thing. It's a millennial thing. With Gen Z women said to be leaning more progressive and outspoken, and Gen Z men increasingly choosing conservatism, many young women say they are struggling to find like-minded mates, instead finding better matches a few years up the generational ladder. I'm going to break this down for these ladies. Good luck. That older guy's not going to marry you. He's going to hook up with a bunch of young girls, and you're going to be left wondering why he leaves you on red. Good luck. Not everybody. They say there are numbers to back up the claims. Only 56% of Gen Z report having a romantic relationship in their teens. The so-called Gen Blend relationship could be the answer. Bumble says it's booming, with 63% of users reporting totally fine dating outside their age group. Yeah, but come on. It's all younger girls dating older guys. And it's not just young women seeking older men. Popular films like The Idea of You, Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, Baby Girl all show older women with younger love interests. And in real life, Hollywood's not exactly shying away. Look at the 21-year age gap between the crowd's Dominic West and wife Catherine Fitzgerald. Now that these couplings always age well, looking back to 35 years ago, Chris Evans, Billy Piper, and 47, blah, 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 I don't care about these people, whatever. I think they're wrong. There's a reason why young guys are leaning towards manosphere or the right or Andrew Tate or whatever. Divorce courts. A Gen Z guy might look at Andrew Tate and say, well, he's getting something right. These older guys are going to be like, don't know, don't care. I can do whatever I want. I wasn't going to marry you in the first place. Younger guys are thinking, I want to have a family. They're more likely to be right-leaning. They're more likely to want dominance, which is another interesting story. 71% of Gen Z guys want to be dominant in their relationship. They don't want to get divorced. Well, here's the reality. This feminist stuff, they're basically telling you they're open to the idea of abortion and divorce right before you even get started. So these older guys who are hooking up with younger girls, they clearly don't care about marriage. Why? They're older guys who aren't married. The younger guys who do want it, and I'm not saying everybody, but the younger guys who are looking for a real relationship, they're not going to go for a woman who's a feminist who's going to say, it's 50-50 chance you could get I could abort your baby, and I probably divorce you anyway. They're going to say, power dynamics were off, and even Gen Z knows it. The key thing that sorts the ick from the okay always has been the power balance. Emma Hathorn of Seeking.com told GQ. Hathorn adds that social media is playing a major role in destigmatizing unconventional couples. Platforms like TikTok give us access to diverse relationship models. Is that what they call it? Whether that person remembers Y2K or thinks crypto coin doesn't matter so much anymore. As Hathorn puts it, partnering with someone older or younger gives an opportunity to learn from their unique experiences and cultural backgrounds. Youth brings fresh perspectives. Let me just tell you right now, okay? Young guys are not dating older women. That's always been rare. Older guys always date younger women. Older guys who aren't married aren't the ones looking for stable relationships. So there is a bias that is happening right now in this space where the younger women are saying, but the older guys are more likely to be feminist. Yeah, the older guys who aren't looking for long-term relationships, that's why they are older guys and not in long-term relationships, are saying whatever they have to say to get you to put out. It works, I guess. Younger guys aren't doing that because they're looking for something more meaningful, or they tend to be, and the young women find excuses as to why that might be. Take a look at this from Gen Z. They say on Reddit, why is dating seemingly so hard for Gen Z compared to previous generations? Mobile apps. You got Tinder, you got Bumble, all of that has ruined dating for you guys. Sorry. Have a nice day. I met my wife in person. We worked together. We hung out. We got along. We liked a lot of the same things. We knew each other for a very, very long time. We have a family now. You can't meet people like that on the internet. It doesn't work. Sorry. This idea that you're going to meet someone from a different world from you and decide to start a family, it's like jamming two magnets together that don't fit. For me and my wife, we both grew up in Chicago. We listened to the same Chicago music, ate the same Chicago food. Despite her being from a different suburb than me, it's still a very similar understanding of the world in a very similar way. Both lapsed Catholics. So we had a very similar upbringing in that regard and hung out in similar spaces and like similar things. These young guys are living in a digital world. So you're into anime? I love anime. I'm a big fan. That's the best, right? You're going to go online and try and find a woman who's into what you're into. It's good luck. The average woman doesn't have hobbies like this. It's just a reality. And they get mad when you point this out because, Fresh and Fit and these other guys point this out, but it is true. Women don't, for the most part, go to anything that's considered like a hobby, and there will be 20% women or less. Go to a skate park, go to an anime convention, very few women. Anime may be a little bit more. But so guys are trying to find women, younger guys, that they have something in common with, and they can't do it because women don't pursue the things that guys pursue in online communities. My wife, we listen to the same music because men and women listen to music. And there were local bands we knew of. So we sing the same songs. We remember the same lyrics. We went to the same places. She's not out there skateboarding or playing guitar, but she can skate and she can play guitar, but it's not her focus. Me, I do all of these things. If I was going to try and pursue community through these things, it's going to be mostly guys. Online dating has screwed everything up for you because now you're looking for people to share interests with. But women don't watch anime. Okay, a lot of them do. My point is, and there's women watching right now, be like, I watch anime, don't say that about me. Come on. What about playing guitar? Some women do, most don't. What about watching UFC? Some women do, most don't. Most don't. What do? They go out and hang out with their friends and they talk about social gossip stuff. That's not a dig. It's what they do. If her worldview is, I don't know, let's say Newport Beach, California surfing or something, and then you're from North Carolina, you grew up in different universes, you don't have fundamental life things in common. And then you try pursuing somebody who shares an interest like music or sports, and she might, but not really. This is the big challenge. Online fractionalization, right? Decentralization of worldview is making it impossible for young people to sync together. Human history. Men and women grew up in the same place, doing the same things. Women were on farms. Men were on farms. They had the same life experiences, and they married people they grew up around. Not anymore. So Gen Z is asking why it's so hard because you're meeting people you don't synchronize with. How are you going to have a life mission? So let's say you right now, Gen Z dude, say, I want to have a family, get a good job. You meet a woman. She doesn't want to have a family. She's from New York. She wants to be a girl boss. She wants to be a feminist and CEO. You think you're going to have a family? She doesn't want what you want. You don't want what she wants. But you're attracted to each other because you're both hot or whatever. You might date. Maybe it's rough. And then in the end, you're like, she didn't want what I wanted. That is so common. Your best bet, move to a small town, find a church. Ain't even a joke. I'll leave it there. Good luck. We'll see you on the next segment.